Okay, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday. What is that? April 4th. It's Saturday evening here in China. It's about 8:40 in the evening, and thought I'd do another live stream. I kind of like this doing it about once a week. Seems to be working out just fine. I could tell you what's going on with me. I get to connect with all of you guys and discuss some of the topics that have happened during the week. As usual, I will start with what's happening with me. Cheers, everybody. I have juice tonight. Mm, mm. I'm not drinking this evening. I needed some fruit, so I made myself a fruit smoothie. It's got banana, pineapple, blueberries, a little bit of watermelon, and it's very, very delicious. So this thing will keep me alive for the next few days. So let's start with me. It's still the status quo for me. I'm still not working. The school is closed. I'm still on restrictions here at the college. I can only leave the college once per day, in and out once per day. This week I did go to Dongguan for a couple days, and I had a great time. China Teacher Brand was kind enough to be my host. Kind of took me around. It was one I checked into the Pullman Hotel, which was a very interesting experience. It's a beautiful hotel. There's a lot of things going on. It's an older hotel, but I was the only one there. And checking in, the parking lot was empty, and I had a bunch of extra paperwork, such as like a health declaration, and they wanted to know my home address and what company I worked for, the reason why I was in Dongguan, and where I was going to be going, and why I was visiting. So I had to give them a ton of extra information, which was fine. The hotel was essentially closed. There were two people behind the desk, concierge, a couple people in the restaurant, which was only open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It wasn't open 24 hours. The fitness center and the gym were open, as well as the indoor pool. But there were about another 3 or 4 restaurants that were closed. The art museum was closed, and many of the gift shop was closed. So walking around there was quiet, and I didn't even get a good room. They didn't upgrade me. I got a room that faced the factory next door. So I'll live with that. Then I got picked up by my buddy Fernando, and we went for a ride in his car, as you saw. And He drove me all around Dongguan, kind of giving me like a little tour of the city. I had been to Dongguan once before, just taking the train and public transportation, and I went on a hike. But I really didn't get a chance to see any of the city, and just looking at it cold, I didn't actually have any information about the city. So it was nice to get his perspective. He had been there for 18, 19 years, and so we discussed a lot of things about the city of Dongguan and the progression of the city over the last 20 years. He's a very knowledgeable guy. And then I did the podcast called Of Course China, which should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. Excuse me, frog in my throat. That was a very interesting experience. I got to meet Ziv, who's the owner of Here Magazine. They're partners in the new podcast. And I went to Pizzeria Calazon. I can't remember, and met Miguel, who's the owner, chef, and had an amazing meal at that restaurant. What a special place that is, that restaurant. If I'm ever going back to Dongguan, you damn right I'm going to be going back to that restaurant. It was really great. The rest of the week here, I actually became kind of busy. I know in my last vlog I was thinking, what am I going to be doing? But I found some new projects that I'm working on, and staying as busy as I can. Today I went to Zhuhai Airport to pick up a friend who was coming in from Shanghai. Zhuhai Airport's a pretty small little airport, but it's about a little over an hour drive from where I am. And the first thing I noticed, it was wide open. I mean, I could go hang out in the arrival hall, which I did, waiting. And everyone was wearing face masks, and people were still on guard. And, it didn't seem all that much out of the normal. except for everybody who's wearing face masks. Then, in addition, this week I've been trying to upgrade my streaming equipment. So I was looking for a webcam, like a good webcam, and I couldn't find one. Even online, they seem to be sold out. Now I know I can finagle my phone or even a GoPro or something, but I haven't I haven't gone that route yet. I'm still trying to look for an actual webcam to use and some lighting. But as you can see, though I didn't find the webcam, we're going to talk about this today as well. Some of the things that are happening out there. When I got to I went to all the different computer stores here in Zhongshan, the retail ones. None of them have webcams. Then I went to there's in many Chinese cities you have these computer marts. They're basically giant computer malls with independent stalls of guys who are selling parts and guys who are, repair guys and things like this. And so when I went there, and they wouldn't let me in. And I said, why? Why won't you let me in? They said, because I'm a foreigner. And that has been happening a lot. I know you've seen the news. If you follow Chinese vloggers, you know that foreigners are having some difficulty with getting into certain places. I have the app. For the longest time, the app, the red, yellow, green app that we're supposed to use to get into places, wasn't working for foreigners. And some places were understanding of that, and just there were other workarounds that we could use. I have the new app that seems to be working just fine. It utilizes the data, the GPS data from your phone to say where you've been in the last couple of weeks. And even with that app, there are many places that I have been denied access to. The Computer Mart was one of them. And, we made a huge fit. It took about 30 minutes of arguing and making a little bit of a scene in order just to let me get into this Computer Mart to do a little shopping. And I actually found a webcam there. This is a funny story. I found a webcam, the Logitech 1080p, it was the only one I've been able to find in the whole city. And we said, okay, let's buy it. And the price was the same retail price as it was online, about 500 RMB, around there. And we opened it up, took a look at it, and it looked a little funny. The logo was different. It didn't look right. So we questioned the authenticity of the camera, which caused another scene because the seller was very upset that we would question the authenticity of this product. And we showed them pictures and said, this is what it's supposed to look like, and you can see the differences here and there, and is this a legitimate product? I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, all right, well, even if it is fake, if it works, I'll buy it. Plugged it in, didn't work. Plugged it into 2 more computers, and it didn't work. So after all that hoopla and all that, arguing and me insulting them, that's what they said. I insulted them. I wasn't trying to, but the video camera didn't work. So I had to walk away, I guess. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit as well. The economy here seems to be getting a little bit better each and every day. I went out to lunch today and the mall was full. Today is a Qingmingjie, so it's a holiday here in China. Now, most of the Qingming festivities have been canceled. Yeah. And but there's still lots of people out and a lot of families out at the restaurants. So all the restaurants at the mall were open at the center of town. I know the whole city itself, it's not 100%, but one thing I have noticed is when you go into some of these restaurants, I'm not talking the chain restaurants, I'm talking the little mom and pop kind of restaurants. Their menu is very limited. They don't have a full menu. In fact, even some of the chains have an augmented menu. It's like a photocopy. Okay, this is what we have. We're not offering the full menu. But more options are available. The last time I did a chat or a live stream, the city was still on like a low level. It still is on a low level. All of the uh, barriers, all of the roadblocks have been taken down. The neighborhoods are wide open now. You can freely come and go throughout the neighborhoods, but they're still checking temperatures as you go into private businesses, malls, and even the parks. And you have to have the app to get into these places. So some places will check the app. Some of them don't bother. They just take your temperature and you go right in. But others are very strict about it. Other than the computer mart, and a couple of weeks ago I had a problem at a park and then at a supermarket, I have not experienced too many issues with regards to foreigners not being allowed in and out of places because they're foreigners. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. In fact, if you watch the news, you can see it's happening quite a bit. And there were some rumors that there were forced quarantines of people traveling within China. I didn't see that. I was at the airport today. There was no forced quarantine. People got off the plane and went right into the city. They do health check, which is basically scan your temperature. Factories, I haven't gone to the factory areas lately, so I don't know what's going on there. All I do know is that orders are not coming in. So I don't know what that means to production currently. I know there's some back orders that a lot of these factories are trying to fulfill, but new orders are not coming in. They're almost completely zero. And that's understandable considering what's going on in the world. But yeah, that's what's going on with me. This is not going to be a long live stream, but if you're out there, please say hello if you have any questions about what's going on, and I'd love to chat with you all. I'm still here on the college campus. School has not begun. There's no word on when it will begin either. So let's see. Yeah, got a lot of notes here. I only did one video this week. I've got a couple more I'm working on, including my long chat that I did with Fernando from China Teacher Brand. That's going to be a long one I did. But I got another one. Allow me to get a little bit personal in 1 second. Oh, geez. I'll deal with that in a second. Let me get you a little personal about what's going on. So everyone knows that the country has been shut down. No foreigners can enter. They've suspended all visas, right? Well, I'm in China, so I'm okay, and I'll be renewing my residence permit, and I don't anticipate any issues with it. I begin that process in a little over a week. I'll let you know. But many of my colleagues who had left China, they can't come back. So there aren't very many foreigners around, it seems. I was given a choice when this whole thing started. You know, I could stay in China and fight it out, or I could go back to America or go sit on a beach in Thailand. I elected to stay in China for various reasons. Partly because I anticipated this happening. I knew that if I had left, there was a great chance that they would not let me come back. Now, my life is here. I've carved out a nice little life here in Zhongshan. I really enjoy my life here. I consider this to be my home away from home. I have friends, and I have, relationships, and I have a job, and I have a future here. So maintaining that is important to me. It's what I want to do. Everyone asks me, Paul, how long are you going to stay in China? When are you going home? The answer is I don't know, but I have no plans on leaving because I really love it here. And I love this city. Something happened this week with a family member, and I'm going to be doing a video about this very shortly. I've already started kind of writing notes and putting together some raw footage. But something happened this week with a family member that was potentially very, very serious. And it kind of made me stand up and think a little bit. This is back home in California. And before I always was comfort. I knew that if something bad were to happen, I was always comforted by the fact that I'm a 20-hour plane ride away. 20 hours door to door. It's not 20 hours plane ride, but between getting to the airport, to the ferry, to the airport, standby time, getting through immigration, and then baggage, and then driving to the front door of my family. It's about 20 hours door to door. So I knew I was always that amount of time away from getting home and providing the support and the comfort that I need in these situations. So a couple nights ago, I got a message that scared me. I'm not going to go into details because it's a private matter, but it kept me up all night. And then I didn't sleep well last night either because I'm still thinking about it. And now, and everything's fine, by the way. It's a private issue, but things I've stabilized and it's okay. This is all back home. But I can't leave. I can't leave China. If I did leave China, I wouldn't be able to come back to my life, my home here, my job, and my future, at least for the time being. There's no telling when that would happen. But even if I wanted to leave, I looked at there's no flights. There's like 4 flights between Guangdong and Los Angeles per week right now, and the cost is like 20,000 RMB one way. No, I'll spend the money if it's serious enough. That doesn't bother me, but getting back was another story. It's not as simple. And plus, if I go back to America, I would be there for 14 days in quarantine at my own expense. So it's not just a cost factor that goes into this. It's the time factor. It's no longer a 20-hour door-to-door issue. It's now a 14-day door-to-door issue. And it just makes me think a little bit, okay, if this private thing had gotten worse, what would I do? What would be the decision for me to make? And these things happen when you're away, when you're abroad. Things happen when you're back home, and it's not just bad things, it's good things too. It's birthdays, it's graduations, it's weddings, it's, opening day at Dodger Stadium, which of course has been delayed. But life goes on back home, and you miss it a little bit, especially when now we have Skype, we can do other things, but it's not the same, as everyone knows. It needs to being one-on-one, is especially when it deals with family issues, is very, very important. So this has been on my mind for the last couple of days, and I've struggled with this conundrum that freedom that I had if I wanted to go home, or I needed to go home to take care of serious business. I no longer have that freedom, or the choice, the decision, and then the logistics of it all have become a lot more complicated, to the point where you have to make very, very difficult decisions. And these are decisions that I never thought about before, but now I'm starting to think about. And God, I hope that I don't have to make these decisions during this time when the world is the way it is right now. So let's keep everyone in your thoughts, and let's pray for it. But it does make me worry a little bit. But anyways, that's here and there. I didn't go into too much detail, but you guys get the gist of what I'm talking about, I hope. Okay. All right, let's see who else out there. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I know it's early there in America, so I'm sure most Americans are still asleep, being Saturday morning. Mari, thank you for sending me your love. I appreciate it. Says, this is China. We are safe here. I believe even if I went back to America, I believe I would be safe. My hometown is a rural area. It's by Chinese standards, it would definitely be considered the countryside, and you've got a lot of land that separates homes, and But even though I know I'm safe here in my little apartment on the college, with nobody else here, it's completely isolating. Sometimes you would take a calculated risk just to have the support of your friends and family in close proximity to you. During the isolation and during the lockdown here over the last couple of months, everyone in China was doing it, and everyone was comforted by the fact that we were all doing it at the same time, and we're still just a couple blocks away from one another. So just having that close proximity was kind of reassuring. If you see some of my videos, they kind of look a little scary because it looks like I'm all alone, and I was. But just outside the gate, there's over 1 billion people out there. They're doing the exact same thing, and I was comforted by that. But when the people who are close to you, the closest to you, are on the other side of the world, literally, a 12-hour difference away, you feel a little bit distant. I don't want to say you're homesick, but you begin to play out certain scenarios in your head. What if, and you fall into this trap. It's a big rabbit hole, and you find yourself coming across these decisions, and you're going to have to take path A or path B, and these are not easy decisions to make. Thank God I'm not put in the position where I have to make that decision now, but the way things are going, I might have to make that decision very, very quickly and very soon in my life, and it's not something that I'm looking forward to. Yes, it's difficult. My Scottish friend, his home couldn't make it home either. So many stories. Are the students back at uni yet? No, they're not. The students are not back. Nobody is back. I do see students coming onto the campus every day, but they have special permission to come on the campus. They're being escorted to their dormitories to pick up personal items, and then they leave again. So there's a bunch of cars that are parked just off campus. They walk on the campus. Many of them take the bus. All right. So that's an update on me. Let's go to some of the topics I want to talk about today. I got a bunch of random ones here. So the first one here, I think everyone has, if you're following China news or China vloggers, you know that this is going on. Ignore the big advertisement in the middle. 60% off hair. It's funny because I'm starting to lose mine up here, and I have a friend who is insistent that Chinese medicine can regrow my hair. And they want me to spend a ton of money to go to the doctor to regrow my lost hair. And it doesn't bother me. I don't care. I've had this hairstyle since 20 years, basically, since I was in the service. But I just find it funny, and I'm not going to spend the money, obviously, because I don't care. All right, so the pandemic leads to suspected unwelcome treatment to foreigners. Everyone's been talking about this. We'll read some of this real quick, and then we'll talk about some of the experiences that my friends and my circle of friends have had. And now, this is not something that's happening to everybody. And here in Zhongshan is definitely a foreigner-friendly part of China. And the vast majority, almost everyone I meet here in China is extremely welcoming and extremely friendly. But there are a few bad apples out there, and it mostly seems to be from the security guards at some of these places who are just doing what their bosses tell them to do. So a few foreigners who have enjoyed staying in China for years recently complained about what they said unhappy or suspected discrimination experiences for reasons they suspect are related to the COVID-19 pandemic in foreign countries. China on Monday reported 48 new infections, all from overseas, bringing total cases to 771. Nearly 60,000 new cases were confirmed outside of China the same day. So yeah, the Chinese people are very, very concerned and worried about what's happening in the rest of the world. Um, they're ahead of the curve here. Canadian blogger David Klink, I think that's it, who has been living in Guangzhou, South China's Guangdong province for 16 years, said he noticed that some people changed their paths to avoid getting close to him. That happened to me in an elevator. I got into an elevator at the mall, and there was a young child there, cute little girl, and I guess her grandmother. When I got in, the grandmother grabbed the child and put the child behind her because I guess they were scared of me. They didn't say anything, but that was the reaction that I got. An employee at a car wash refused to wash Clinic's car on Friday, which made him feel not very good. I've had no problem with that. My car gets washed. But I could understand it was the fear. Clinic finally got served after he told the employees that he had been in China for a long time and had finished the quarantine period after returning from Canada. He said some of his friends have had similar experiences recently, which has become a little bit of a problem. It has for some people. Again, I've stayed in China, and a lot of my friends who have stayed in China this whole time, never left, have still experienced this, because when they see a foreign face, the locals have no way of telling if you are a recent returnee or have you been here the whole time. Thankfully, when I'm out and about with a friend. So and I have the app now. The app has helped and worked in some cases, but having a friend to have your back is much more valuable during this time. If I'm around, I go out alone, of course, but if I go to some of these places alone, there's no way they're letting me in without my friend with me. Matthew, a 72-year-old Australian national who is a retired English teacher at the university in Beijing, was stopped from going into a restaurant by a waiter on Sunday, even after explaining he had never left China since the outbreak. That happened to me at the beginning. I wasn't allowed to go to a restaurant. We had to make a big scene, mostly because I didn't have the app. The app wasn't working at that time. I came to Beijing in the 80s, and I have never experienced things like this before, Matthew said, adding that he and his students managed to enjoy their meal at another welcoming restaurant. Yeah, if one restaurant doesn't let you in, there's other restaurants that will. You just patronize those restaurants. Patronize. I think that's right. I have a friend here in Zhongshan who is married with children, has been here for well over 10 years. And he reported that he was at the city zoo, and he was just taking his children to the zoo, and they wouldn't let him into the zoo. And that was reported. Very, very sad. I got another friend here. He's married. He's been here for many, many years. He's committed to this country. He loves this country. And he and his wife bought a house, an apartment, and they wouldn't allow him to go into his apartment and into his own home, And there's lots of stories and rumors that, when if you live in a big garden or apartment community, there are these WeChat groups, so you got to watch out for that. It looks like I have lost connection with the chat. This happened last time. If for some reason the connection goes down, hang in there, it'll come back. But not always does the chat reconnect. So if the chat, it looks like I'm unable to connect. So if you're trying to talk to me, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to answer because I cannot see the chat. But if you chat and you have questions or comments that you want to make, by all means, put them in the chat, and then I will try to answer them in the comment section after this is posted. Yeah, I'm back. Oh, China. But yeah, the chat seems to be broken. So I'm going to go through this. And again, this is not going to be a long live stream. Okay, next. Schools begin to reopen in China amid strict measures. Many schools have reopened in other provinces. Now, Guangdong was one of the provinces that got hit really hard, so there's still no word or even rumors about when school's going to start or if it's going to start again. Many students return to school amid strict preventative measures as the coronavirus epidemic waned in China. And then there's here 18 provinces to reopen. April will be a big month. But as an increasing global cases pose a considerable uncertainty, most provinces have only partly resumed schooling with caution, and some provinces are still reluctant to arrange reopening of schedules. It seems to be more emphasis on final year high school, second and third year high school, for the students to get ready for the Gaokao, which is the college entry exam. But I just saw this right before I went live today, that the college entry exam has been delayed until July. So that also tells me that schools will probably be remaining open. Those who have opened will probably be remaining open and bleeding into the summer. There have been rumors that they will continue to be open on Saturdays as well to make up for this lost time, and perhaps even starting the term early this summer. Nobody really knows. As the coronavirus epidemic, well, let's see. All right, we won't talk about that. This is foreign students must read this. Here it is. The Gaokao was postponed by 1 month to July 7th and 8th. Okay. It's obvious it talks about why it was postponed. It's obvious why it was postponed. This was in China Wire. And when is the right time for students to go back to school? Some of them have been going back, but they're watching it very carefully. Everyone has very strict. You have to wear face masks everywhere you go. If you live in a dormitory, you have to sleep foot to foot in the bunks. These are very close quarters. Lots and lots. They're watching it very, very closely. They're being very cautious. It's not all bam, everyone back. They're just doing it little by little by little. I really want the schools to open again. I miss teaching. I miss being in a classroom. It's 11 weeks now. As many provinces lowered their emergency response, some students have already gone back to school. There are more schools and colleges preparing for reopening, but are they ready? My college seems to be putting different things in place, like at the main entrance now they have temperature scanners, like not the ones you shoot your forehead with, but actually ones that you walk through. And but I also noticed, and you'll see this you saw in my last video, that many of the classrooms are being renovated. When I say renovated, they still have the same desks and the same, but they're getting new wiring, new paint. It's not just white walls now. It looks like they've got some orange and blue colors throughout they brighten it up a little bit. The classrooms here at my college have always been a little drab and dreary. It's an older classrooms. Even the new teaching building kind of feels a little bit institutional, I guess. So it's a good thing to see them adding a little bit of color and a little bit of character to the classrooms. And I'll do some more video about that and show you guys in a little bit. Okay. This one. You guys have seen this. Scandal hits Luckin Coffee. Now, I did a video about Luckin Coffee last year when I did my coffee culture. And that video has actually gotten a lot of hits since this took off. Shares down 75%, but orders still. Last year, we published an article about China coffee chain Luckin Coffee to shed some light on the company's exponential growth and popularity that swept the caffeine-thirsty nation. And that's the article that I actually read in my video. For some quick contents, Luckin sells 1.6 billion cups of coffee a year, and once raised questions about whether they would be able to sustain their growth and survive. Those questions were answered on May 17th, 2019, when the company went public on the U.S. stock market. The fastest IPO in history, by the way. Established, okay, where is it? Despite this exponential rise, Luckin Coffee reportedly lost 6 million RMB per day in the first quarter of 2019. Yes, they've never made a profit. This is purely speculative. They went public on this, and everyone was very, very bullish on it. And people lost their shirts this week. And by the way, in the view of Luckin Coffee, China's coffee market presents some difficulties. Substandard quality, high prices, and inconvenience are hindering the development of new business in China's coffee market. There's coffee shops everywhere, and some good coffee shops too. According to the company, China's rising. Oh, we already talked about that. Right, okay. Here. This is until a scandal around fabricated scales worth $310 million or 2.2 billion RMB from as early as the second quarter of 2019 hit the coffee company, which is now under investigation by Chinese authorities. Once news broke out, their shares plummeted 75% on April 2nd. Boom, look at that, right off a cliff. According to the company, Luckin Coffee's investors should no longer rely upon its previous financial statements over the last 3 quarters of 2019 for having been faked by its COO. And the COO has been fired. I'm sure many other heads will roll as a result of this. Hold on. I notice when the chat freezes and if I refresh the page, it will reconnect, my friend says. If I refresh my stream page, it will disconnect the stream. That's what I'm concerned about. We'll do it like this, and then next time I do a live stream, I'll run some drills before and see if it actually works. But what I want to do is I want to play for you. I went to Luckin Coffee, and this was a year ago. I've never drank Luckin Coffee in my life, and this is why. Let me show you. Unplug this. More and more Chinese are beginning to consume coffee in their daily lives. The company aims to become China's largest coffee chain by increasing its number of stores, but as of March 31st, 2019, the total number of Luckin Coffee stores increased to 237 in just 18 months. At the end of last year, the company announced it would open up another 2,500 stores in 2019 alone. How does the coffee taste? The answer is, I don't know. I wasn't able to order. You have to order on their app. And in order to order on the app, you have to connect it with WeChat. And I was unable to sync it. And the guy at the counter couldn't sync it either. We can't figure out why. I am unable to order coffee and pay for it. What a shame. Taking a look, I'm in the back of it. There's nobody here. It's got hard floors. It's very, very loud. It's not a place to hang out and enjoy a cup of coffee. They rely solely on delivery and express. You order online, you come pick it up. Something that's really impressive, to be the fastest IPO in history in about 15 months and never making a single profit. That shows an incredible amount of optimism in the coffee market in China. So you were able to order the Luckin Coffee, and you ordered it on your app, and it was delivered to you. And the Meituan, or was it?
No, just on the app, and a man delivered here.
How much?
30
RMB.
Yeah.
Does that include the delivery?
Yes.
So, Lord. I'm so angry and upset. Coffee and buy a cup of coffee just at the counter, and they wouldn't let me do it. They said you had to order on the app. Couldn't get the app to sync. No coffee was ordered. No coffee was drank. And for the last year, I've been seeing Luckin Coffee all throughout the offices and places that I go and classrooms that I go, and everyone's saying, "Oh, you got this app, and if you sign up for the app, you'll get free coffee. Then you get all these 50% discount." And so, even though at Starbucks you would pay 35 RMB for a latte, people ended up paying maybe 15 RMB. That includes the delivery cost for these lattes, and that's why people were going. They were going because it was so much cheaper than Starbucks. So it doesn't surprise me at all that they weren't able to sustain this model, because when I go to a coffee shop, everyone knows I go to Starbucks, of course, it's my taste of home, but I really like my Pacific Coffee place because it's a place where I can go, enjoy a cup of coffee, get some work done, and then sometimes I'll be there for an extra, cup an hour later. And I continue to go back because it provides that environment. As you can see, I've never seen a Luckin Coffee that was a place that I wanted to hang out and chat with friends or read a book or get some work done on my laptop. So it was the model was purely mobile ordering and delivery. So you come pick it up, and that was it. There wasn't even a menu anywhere for me to look at what I can buy there. So that was my biggest complaint about Luckin Coffee, is that to me, it's not the coffee culture that I want, and it doesn't compete with Starbucks. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Luckin was competing with Starbucks." No, it's a completely different model. Starbucks, people go there and they have meetings there. It's not just the brand, but it's a place. It's an experience. So you go, you get your coffee, and the coffee is only so. There are better places to get coffee, but it's reliable. The service is good. They have decent food. I mean, I had breakfast there this morning, and you go there, play video games, and you hang out. And after an hour of talking with your friends and drinking your coffee, then you get another coffee or one to go, or you get a pastry or something. That was not happening at Luckin. It was strictly coffee in a very, very well marketed brand. And it's a shame. I would like to see more brands out there that not necessarily compete with Starbucks, but give more options to the consumer. And so seeing this has actually bummed me out a lot, because I was hoping Luckin would develop its brand a little bit more and become yet another place that I can go and enjoy. So, okay. Enough of that, folks. Thank you. They postponed the Olympics to start July 23rd, 2021. Probably a smart deal. I'm curious, and I know many of you are, how not just the Olympics, but regular sports in America are going to be affected by this. It was spring training for baseball. Everyone knows I'm a huge baseball fan, especially my team, the LA Dodgers. And this is the year, man. I mean, every year I say it's the year, but this year, again, I felt like we had the team to go all the way. I mean, everyone was fearful of our team. I was very excited for the season. And I was following them every day, reading the reports, looking at the stats, and it was just getting so excited, and now it's gone. And I honestly didn't see it coming. I did not see this coming at all. It was surprised me. It shocked me. But all the players who were gearing up for the season and going through spring training and getting, conditioning and everything, if they finally start the season, if they actually do, or unless they call off the season, what's that going to happen to the players? And how is this delay going to affect the athletes who have been training their whole lives, many of them since they were little children, to compete in this one Olympics, maybe two Olympics that they have during the prime of their lives? And even 1 year's delay, are they going to continue to condition themselves for another year, or are they going to take 6 months off and then have to restart their conditioning, gearing up for the games? As an athlete, I see this as, and a trainer, I see this as many, many potential problems. And I'm not complaining about it. I'm just curious how they're going to plan for this, what the future is going to be for these sports. Okay, let's see. Will the coronavirus change the expat world forever? This was something I hoped I could actually have a chat with you all on, but my chat is disabled. I'm sorry. It's one of those things. But I welcome comments in after this is posted. If you're rewatching this, tell me what you think the world of being an expat is going to be once the coronavirus thing goes away, if it ever goes away. How's this going to change our lives? I talked about it a little bit and how it's changing my life and affecting the decisions that I have to make, the difficult life decisions in the beginning of the live stream. But I'm curious, how's it going to affect you? How's it changing your thinking and the what if scenarios that are going on in your head? And I don't want to talk about masks. Look, there's been a lot of exposés on masks lately. There's a huge shortage of them throughout the world. It seems like in China there's an abundance of them, at least in my city. But I mean, you can go to any store and buy masks. Now we're talking about these masks here. These are the disposable ones. They have reusable ones and N95. I've got an N95 one that I've been using. I have two of them. They cost me $4 a piece, and that's what I use. But also I use bandanas when I go out. Just wear it around my neck, if I have to talk to someone, I pull it up, and it's hasn't been too much of an issue lately. But I know it's an issue in other parts of the world. Hang in there. The production is coming back. There's so many other things I wanted to chat with you guys about today, and I was looking forward to getting the feedback from you guys in the chat. That's why I do these live streams. But here I am, silent. At least you guys are silenced on my end. But a short little live stream. Be on the lookout for some more videos I've got coming out. I've got about 3 of them I'm currently working on in various stages of development. And hopefully I'll be releasing those in the next week. That's what I'm looking forward. So I got a hotel. My hotel that I was going to do here in Zhongshan, the La Meridian, that was canceled. I was supposed to do that tomorrow, but something came up that I got to attend to. The La Meridian is a struggling property that I have friends who are the manager there, and they, I wish I could go there because they're really opening, give me the red carpet treatment. But hopefully I can get that done this week. We'll find out. The Pullman, I did a video of the Pullman. I'll be releasing that, and of course my walk and talk with Fernando. And then another one I'm going to share that I've spliced in some footage that I did from back in America last summer. It's going to be a very personal vlog. But hold on one sec. With that being said, thank you everybody for watching my videos and participating in the conversation. As always, things are looking up here, and we'll be in touch soon. So take care, everybody.